not open the details, especially on the after the first match. I can discuss more on after the second one. You need to understand. I think that the qualifying round, despite the score, we need to respect this team. This team is a high level team. It's the champion of Nigeria. We respect Nigerian football. We respect Remo Stars, and we still have to focus on what we have ahead. But obviously, that to play against a team that has a man-to-man marking system through all the pitch and that goes very high on the pitch, we need to have mobility. We need to address the spaces in the back. We need to attract, but then use the spaces that are available. I think that we found those spaces, not always, but the moments we found them, we were little. And that's what we brought always throughout the match. A lot of energy, commitment on defense, because we knew that in some moments we could lose balls. We had to deal with also those long balls for the two strikers in the front. We had to be strong on the second balls and clean the game as much as possible. And then he tried to play our football. And I think that the boys were committed with it. The attitude was strong, defensively aggressive, duels, we were there. And then wait the right moments to define, because we have, of course, players that can define any action. And I congratulate them by that effort that they did. I totally understand your question. Is a very well put it question, because obviously that I didn't expect to win by 5. But as you understood, I pushed the game and the players on the sideline to not drop and to keep energizing and energizing and energizing. Football happens. We never know what we come for. What we knew is that we needed a lot of respect for this team, and respect Remo Stars, respect Nigerian football, is make the best we can every moment from the first minute. And that's basically the attitude we brought on the game. And we were capable to sustain that attitude. And that's why we were able to build the result we did. Because we were constant on aggressing. We made changes to continue to manage aggressivity, to put aggressivity in the front. And I think that with the goal scoring happening, there was a little bit of loss of organization from Remo Stars, a little bit drop of energy, what is normal for a team that in first half was so aggressive. And then we were able to find the spaces. That's basically the attitude that Mamelodi Sundowns has to have as a regularity, and that we are looking for the future. What would happen today would have to be produced from the respect that we had in terms of studying very well Remo Stars. We saw 6 matches from Remo Stars, not only the 2 qualifying matches from the Champions League previous round, but we saw 4 matches from the Championship. I even went to see last year's match that we played against the ASFA. So that's the study and the commitment that you need to have when you play these kind of matches, is to go deep on the study of the opponent. Of course, that there was on the lineup 6 different players. You brought this today again, the center back that was injured before or that was not playing that last year was important. Look, if you don't study the deep one team like this, you can be surprised. You need to give them maximum respect, and that's what we did. And then my job is to bring the energy for the players so that they follow the program and the demand, and then demand and demand and demand. That's why you saw me on the sideline also very energetic, very active, because when you start to feel that there's a result that is happening, you have to push to try to make it as to the limit. Even after we suffered the 4-1, I kept putting substitutions in the front, because I was understanding that there could be spaces again to score. But as I said, we don't give this as finished. We have to have the same approach on the second match. That's how champions are produced, by the commitment with themselves, by the commitment and respect by everybody. And look, we came here with a big respect. We came 3 days before the match, because we knew that we needed to rest. We need to rest our players. And despite they had a wonderful story written this season regarding the qualification for the World Cup, with the Bafana, they understood the commitment they had to have with Mamelodi Sundowns. That basically is the club that they represent. That's a commitment you need to have always. Look, things like Mamelodi Sundowns are built throughout the years, and with a lot of investment, by gathering the best players, and by then working with them and always recruiting and recruiting and recruiting. There's a legacy, obviously, on the history of Mamelodi Sundowns that we need to respect. And that's exactly what we understood when we came here, that Remo Stars is a team with story. It's the champion, double champion on Nigeria. Nigerian football speaks for itself. And despite our legacy and the story that we have on the Champions League, we could not relate with that. We had to relate with what we could do on the pitch. Because if you bring a story just because you have a star and you were finally finalist last year, that will not play inside the pitch. What will play is the commitment that the players may bring. And that was our job, to bring a lot of commitment. You might imagine that for us, Mamelodi Sundowns, this qualifying round is historically very important. And obviously that it's still on the table. And for Remo Stars, the team will beat themselves until the last minute. But we cannot fail. We cannot fail. We have to face this with a lot of commitment, with a lot of respect. But we cannot fail. And we will have now to try to recover as much as possible, so that on the second match we can play again to win the match, because we have to create that habit. Our habit is to win, and even myself, I cannot allow myself not to be in the same attitude rather than that one. So that's the commitment that coach of Mamelodi Sundowns must have with the club itself. Look, when I entered the club, there were several values that were taught to me, that are the values that sustain the identity of the club. In our shirt, in mine, no, but in yours, it's written Ubuntu Boto. Those are the values that should regulate Mamelodi Sundowns fans all the moment. And that has to do with commitment, that has to do with respect, that has to do with support, that has to do with family, that has to do with responsibility, of course. And that's what we try. We are not perfect. We are also victims of aggressions. We are also victims of moments. What we always do is try to show character in the most difficult moments, and that's exactly what we're going to continue to do: is try to show character in every moment, in the difficult ones and in the good ones. And that's what people should expect, and Mama Sandwana family should expect from the coach and from the players, is a big respect for the club history, tradition, and level, so that we can lift it and keep it high as it is, for sure. That's what Mazanona. Look, obviously it's important that when you are under pressure or high pressure, mostly in a man-to-man marking, that you can use the spaces in the back of that pressure. So we needed players, runners on the front to make diverse movements in order to try to release someone of the marking. But then we need someone to put the ball there. We know we have a goalkeeper that is basically the first one to deliver service on those spaces, on those players. We had to attract pressure so that then we could find them. And I think that both our four defenders, Rowan, the two midfielders, and then the players that linked the game from the back to the front, they were quite okay. Obviously, it's very important that to have such quality players. But look, there's no coach that can produce results without high quality players. As much players or as better players we have, the closest we are from success. Even myself, recently, I didn't have available so many players with such quality, and we also struggled. When you have more resources in hand, you can produce more. Like today, that we put in extra energy in the front. But recently, I had matches that I had no people to substitute in the front because of players on under 20 national team, on the World Cup, players that were injured, players that still had not arrived from the recruitment. Coaches are not magicians. They believe in the players and they work with the qualities they have. So let's, now that we are more strong, more compact, more entire, try to develop the team to the level that we want to be.